This is Ollie Brockett. I'm delighted to be joined today by Joe Reynolds for LowKick MMA. We're going to be breaking down this week's Bellator 287 card, and I'm looking forward to going through this card with you. How are you doing today, pal?
I'm doing brilliant. The card that we've got this weekend, it's filled with action. There's a UK fan seeing so many UK fighters on the card as well. All it does is bring smiles all around. But this card in general, it's extremely exciting this year. It's definitely one of the best I've seen from this year with Bellator.
Oh, I'm excited too. Let's start from the top. Adam Piccolotti versus Mansour Barnaoui in the lightweight main event. What are your thoughts coming into this one?
Yeah, it's a really exciting fight to see Barnaoui finally back in the cage. You know, even before coming into Bellator, he'd won 3 belts. He hadn't lost for a long time. I'm quite intrigued to see if he's made lots of improvements since being out or what he's going to look like. But I think Piccolotti, it's the right test for him coming into Bellator. I'm sure they're looking at him as someone to see fighting for his title in the future. But I think overall it's a very exciting fight. Adam Piccolotti, he can cause anyone a problem in the cage. But to see how Barnaoui will handle it after the timeout, be a very interesting fight to see.
Yeah, well, Piccolotti came into Bellator in 2015. You know, started off hot, 5-0, but since then he's lost 4 of his last 8. So he's struggling for some form, but he's got a tough test against Barnaoui. And with both fighters, you know, their strengths will be on the ground. And you know, Barnaoui's takedown defense is not, you know, perfect, but his ability to get up or go into his full guard positions is pretty damn impressive. So Piccolotti, you know, he'll done his homework and, you know, he'll be shooting for those takedowns, but he'll have his work cut out for him against Barnaoui, I really do feel. And, you know, the disparity will be on the feet. And yeah, Barnaoui, he's longer and he does a lot of damage in the clinch. So, you know, despite the ring rush, as you mentioned, he's been out for 3 years. You know, I still feel like he'll overcome and he'll get the job done against Piccolotti, but it will be a tough fight and it's whether he'll get the finish.
I agree. I think it will be one of those fights where it's to see who can get their game implemented first. If Piccolotti starts to take advantage on the ground and get into the positions where he's comfortable, it can be a tough night for Barnaoui. But if he can get it inside the pocket, get the clinch, I see him with the advantage there just because of the versatility that he's got. But then moving on the ground, his get-ups are good as well. So, but I think Barnaoui will get the win. But I think Piccolotti, if he gets it his way, he'll cause him quite a few problems in that fight.
Oh, 100%. So let's take a look at the co-main event. We've got Fabian Edwards against Charlie Ward. What are your thoughts about this one?
It's an exciting fight. Obviously, Fabian Edwards, he came off what would probably be one of the biggest wins of his career in his last one, with the name value that he'd be, and then the way that he did it as well. And now looking at this fight, I think it's another one that he should win. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, but I feel as though this is going to be the fight that really pushes him onto that next level, and then he'll start moving into those rankings very well. He's already in them, but very quickly start to get his way to the title shot.
100%. You know, as you said, he's coming off a win off Lyoto Machata earlier this year. It will be his second appearance in 2020. As you said, he needed a confidence boost. He lost his last 2 to the judges. However, his opponent, Charlie Ward, you know, he's found his form. He's won 3 straight fights since his loss at Bellator London in 2019. And he's been near perfect since joining the promotion following his time at the UFC. He's won 7 of 8, 5 of them coming by finish. However, regardless if he's found a stride or not, he is 41. And like you said, I really cannot help myself than feel like this is a setup from Bellator for Fabian Edwards to make a statement and throw his name into the goblet of fire. But, you know, especially, you know, following his brother's success, they'll both be, Bellator and Edwards will be looking to capitalize on his name and on that. But he also comes in with the 7-inch reach advantage. Sorry. So I do feel like he'll just use his length alongside his more technical striking and stay away from those big shots from Ward. Although the pressure on the night, you know, you've got all these factors in favor of Edwards. You know, there could be an element of nerve. You know, he might be a bit hesitant on the feet, so it might leave a window of opportunity for Ward to, you know, land one of those big shots. You know, but overall, you know, if as long as Edwards contains his emotions, I personally cannot see him not walking out with his hands raised. But most importantly, I feel like he'll need an impressive stoppage to, you know, improve his title shot odds and moving up those rankings.
100% agree there. And as well, you do look at Charlie Ward's last fight, I believe, Alan Carlos. In terms of what we can expect to see is if he does land the shot, he's got a chance. But I just think with the way that Fabian Edwards is now, I just think this is, as you said, it's that fight just sort of to push him on to the next level.
Oh, 100%. It should be a good one. I'm expecting some good knockouts. I hope they all don't go to decision. You know, I felt like that happened at UFC 280. You know, you got the hype of all these good fights and you only got them in the last three. However, we'll move on into the third fight on the main card. It's going to be an English affair at 155 as Saul the Hangman Rogers takes on the experiment Wild, Tim Wild, sorry. How do you see this one playing out?
It's a very exciting fight. For me, this has got to be the potential fight of the night. Tim Wild's last fight against Davies, it was a great fight, back and forth. It was very hard to pick a winner. You know, he got the cut on his leg as well, on his shin, and to already be back in there against someone like Saul Rogers, who, you know, both of them aren't going to back down. It's very hard to pick. For me, even though there's a big favourite for Saul, I still think Tim is a very problematic fighter. He's good on the feet. You know, he can mix the grappling as well if he needs be. But I think in this fight, it's the fight of the night that looks out to me. I feel as though this is going to be a standout performance by one or the other moving into this one, definitely.
100%. Like you said, Tim's coming in to this fight off the back of a tough fight himself. However, Rogers is also coming off a win at Bellator 266, and he'll be looking also to get his first back-to-back wins for the first time since, I think, 2016, which is crazy. Which is another guy that struggled to stay consistent within the promotion. However, neither fighter at their respected ages, they won't be happy with a loss. They'll be wanting a result. And like you said, it's a really interesting fight in that regard. Both fighters are relatively even when it comes to height and reach. However, they'll have the opposite of game plan. Wilder will want it to be on the feet. Rogers will want this to be on the ground. And for me, the winner in this fight is the one that is able to dictate where this fight takes place. And in my opinion, I feel like Rogers' wrestling edge is more significant than Wild's striking advantage. You know, he's got a constant pace that never deteriorates, and I feel like we'll see the effect on that on Wild. You know, Rogers will use his ground and pound and jiu-jitsu to get into those dominant positions and grind out a victory. Will he be able to get a finish? Who knows? You know, he does have 10 submission wins on his record. Although, like you said, it's a very tough and close fight, so you can't totally overlook Wild. You know, as long as he uses his movement to minimize the chance of a takedown from Rogers, perhaps he might frustrate him. You know, he might actually open up a window of opportunity to use his striking and, you know, clip Rogers. You know, we have seen him get hurt a lot of times before on the feet. His striking isn't stellar. However, if you're taking my betting advice, which isn't always advised, I would go with the heavy favourite Rogers in this one to grind out a very good victory.
100%. And as well with the Sal Rogers at grappling, the people he's been training with, he's back in England for this camp. I've seen him with the likes of Farouk, Manchester top team, Dagestan wrestler, Ibrahim, Dennis Frimpong. There's been a lot of grapplers that he's been training with. So I feel as though, as you mentioned, he is going to take that grappling approach. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, especially with Martin Stapleton as well, that he's been training with at SBG Rochdale. So, but it's a very exciting fight for me. I really can't wait to see what happens. And I can't predict it. I feel as though it could go either way on the night.
In contrary, actually, in the final fight on the main event, this is my fight of the night, personally. It's Justin Gonzalez taking on Andrew Fisher. I know you spoke to Fisher recently. What are your thoughts coming into this one?
It's very exciting. I feel as though Andrew Fisher, especially in the Bellator realm, he goes very under the radar. You know, the network he's got, the people he's been training with, he's been flying people in. You know, he's had the rounds perfect for him. I'm sure he's picked and choose who he thinks would be the ideal sparring partners. And as well, with everything that's going on, he's got his own show, his own gym. But I feel as though he balances all those things greatly. And once he smells blood, he's on you constantly in the fight. I feel as though all it takes is for Justin Gonzalez to be hurt once, and Andrew Fisher, he won't lay off him. He'll continue to come forward. But then, alternatively, Gonzalez on the back foot. He's a great fighter. He knows how to counter well. So it's really interesting bout to see. But I think for this fight, if Andrew Fisher wins, great way to break inside of the top 10. if he loses, I don't think there's much pressure on him there either. So it's all a win it all, or not much to lose in reality with that fight.
So are you taking Fisher or Gonzalez? I feel like you've got a Fisher edge to that.
You know, I'm gonna have to back Andrew Fisher. He's a UK guy, but I think Gonzalez is a very good fighter. But I think Andrew Fisher, the underdog, I feel as though he might be able to win this one.
Oh, this fight's going to be really good, I feel. I spoke to both guys. Both gave really good responses in how they're preparing for this fight. Gonzalez, since joining Bellator and being an LFA champion, and with his time at Dana White's Contender Series, he has faced some really tough competition. Ever since being in Bellator, he's 2-3, and he's most recently coming off a win against Kai Kamaka the third, off a decision. His only loss on his record and with the promotion is against Aaron Pico, and that was by decision. In my opinion, you've got to be pretty tough to get through 15 minutes with Aaron Pico. However, on the opposite, Fisher is no stranger to Bellator. He fought way back when in 2013 and 14. However, he did lose both, but since coming back into the promotion, he's yet to be beaten in 2020. He's aging like fine wine, like you said. So it is going to be a tougher fight for Gonzalez than I think he feels like it's going to be. Although both guys are both well-rounded mixed martial artists. Although in my opinion, in contrary to yours, I feel like Justin Gonzalez is just a bit better. He's been boxing since he was a kid, until his dad pushed him into wrestling. That's when he became a D1 wrestler at the University of Colorado. He ended up with teammates with Justin Gaethje, who he's still in contact with now, which is great knowledge to be picking from. He's shown in his previous fights his IQ and his ability to mix up his attacks at a relentless pace. And will Fisher be able to keep up with that at the age of 37? Who knows? I think we'll find out in that fight. Fisher has some good striking. He's got some good kicks, and he does have some respectable wrestling to combat the strength of Gonzalez wrestling. But I think it's going to be a grueling fight, and we're really going to see if Fisher's tank can take the pace of Gonzalez. But as I said, after speaking to both guys, although Fisher is a top bloke, as you would know, Gonzalez just seems to have this drive to get after everyone in the rankings. He really wants a piece of that title. So if you want my best advice, I'd stick some money on the man from Denver to take care of business.
So, well, it's a very interesting fight. I think, as you said there, that there's a lot of good in both fighters. But I feel as though seeing Andrew Fisher, seeing him around, he looks in phenomenal shape as well. The best we've seen him in a while. I don't know. I feel as though he might be able to pull it off and shock a few people going into this one, but should be a very good fight, as you said.
So that's it for the main card. However, we have picked out our honourable mentions from the prelims. Who have you got from them?
So the prelims, Luke Trainer, I think we haven't seen him last time. He came off the loss, but had to pull out earlier in the year. He's now at GB Top Team with Brad Pickett and several top quality pros. And I feel as though we're going to see a bit of a different version of him. Obviously, he's moved from his previous gym, I believe, Fight Star, into a great gym in GB Top Team. So I think he'll be someone who's going to look really good. The Russian Popov, I believe he's opening the card, the first fight. He just looks unbelievable when I was watching him earlier today. I feel as though he's going to be a big one on the prelims. But there's a lot of guys on the prelims that are going to impress, and I think, but those two, they're the names to look out for myself.
You know what? I couldn't have said it better myself. However, I think I went in a different direction to you. I went with Constelo van Stennis versus Camille Onishuk. It's a very difficult name to pronounce. I do apologize. Van Stennis is the only guy to beat Fabian Edwards, who is actually fighting on that main card, like we discussed before. And in fact, they actually fought in the same building in Milan the last time they fought, which I thought was quite interesting. The last time these guys faced off, it was very intense. You saw it at the face-offs, and it's a very brandable rematch. And with big wins from both of them on the night, it might be a fight Edwards might think of taking to show his progression and show that he's back to winning ways, and give him a better shot at the title and at the rankings. However, that all depends on the night. He is facing a tough test in Camille, but not one I don't think he'll pass. And, I think he'll come out with the victory, but I think it'll be a tough, grueling match. And, it'll produce some highlights.
100%. And I think just overall, this card, it's filled with talent and somewhat the sort of next generation, especially, that's going to start moving in over the next couple of years, even some of the fighters in the next month. So it's a very exciting card, and the prelims, got to tune in for those, I think, as well as the main card.
I can't wait. I'm glad it's in Milan, so it will be at a time where I'll be able to watch it instead of staying up until 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning for an American card. Although I am looking forward to this, to watching it, sorry. And Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure to be going over with it, my friend. And till next time, I can't wait.
It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, it's my first one, but it's been a great time speaking to you. Card this weekend should be great. But no, it's been great to speak to you, my friend.
You've absolutely smashed it, pal. Till next time.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKickMMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.